Okay, good evening. We'll call the meeting of the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission to order. And we begin with the roll call.
Okay. Bird here is here. Peter is here. Jer, is he? I didn't hear anything. Did you have a person? Okay, and then Victor is present. Guy present. Jamie present. Connor present. Rick. I'm here. Barbara present. Jim.
I'm here.
And I am present. We've got two excused absences, Berta and Carol. We have a quorum.
All right. We'll do the land acknowledgement next. As we gather today, we acknowledge that Eureka, California is ancestral territory of the Wiyot people. We honor all indigenous people, territories, and sovereign governments that share governance within Humboldt County, California. We gather with respect and gratitude to these indigenous people. We thank and honor the indigenous caretakers of this land who continue to cherish and protect it. Their elders have instructed the young to consider the 7 generations ahead as they continue to protect the rights of the land and all people who live on it. We encourage all to align with and follow the lead of local indigenous communities as they steward the land and protect all of its natural resources. We'll have a moment of silence. Okay. As you can see, I misnumbered my items on the agenda. I apologize for that. That's what you get for copying and pasting without paying attention. Anyway, there is no guest speaker this evening, so the next item would be agenda adjustments. Anybody requesting a change in the order of the agenda? Okay, we'll move forward then with the approval of the meeting minutes for February 5th, 2025.
I need to get it.
Okay. So we have received some suggested corrections. Accept a motion to approve as amended. Version is there a second? Second. Okay, Victor.
I would wonder if it wouldn't be good though, maybe to have the corrected minutes kind of so that we can all see it.
Yes.
And respond to that rather than just, the projected changes.
Yeah. It's not edited yet.
So would you recommend we?
And I would recommend that we wait until the next meeting.
Probably a good idea.
So we withdraw the motion?
That's fine.
Okay.
Substantive changes.
I think there are some edits that do need to be made. I've made quite a few mistakes on names that I'd like to correct. And I think all the things like that, spelling of names that I think should be corrected before I would feel comfortable adding them that hasn't been in the county record yet.
Well, then we'll hold those minutes over until the next meeting for approval. We'll send them out as soon as you've got them to your satisfaction. Carol is absent this evening, so she can't give the budget balance, but I can give it to you now that I've struggled to reach the bank. The checking account has $4,506.93. And under mission communications, I had 2 items I wanted to remind everybody of. One is the importance of committee meetings in between our monthly meetings. We can get a lot more done if we are diligent about that. The other thing is that all of you should have received 700 forms, which I sent out a while back, or they were sent out from the clerk of the board's office. If you haven't already returned those, please try to get those in as soon as you can. Like I said in my message, generally speaking, most people only have to fill out the first page. Some of you might have more complicated situations than that. So I can't tell you that's all you have to do, but for most, that's usually the case. Bert,
Did everybody else get an ethics thing that you had to take a class?
I didn't.
I didn't.
It must have been then because I'm an election worker. Are you an election worker?
Yeah.
I got one and said I had to do this, so I did, but I just wondered if it
I
was,
think you have to work here.
Last election,
yes.
because I'm on the call, which.
They said everything, you said you were fine, but I got this and it said I had to do it, so I did. But I just wondered if it was for this. Because it said it was for committees and commissions and all kinds of stuff. And
About that, but
Is it annual or is it maybe every 2 or 3 years or something and maybe you were just due?
Yeah, I think when you come on, you have an ethics one.
I don't know, but
That would make sense.
I just wondered if anybody else had gotten it.
Oh, I haven't.
I definitely did, but I didn't respond to it yet. I was like, oh, I better do
So
that.
you had to, it tracks the amount of time you take in it. You have to put at least 2 hours into this class. And then you have to print out a certificate and send it in. I mean, or, you know, send it in email and print it out for yourself.
It sounds like school.
Yeah, I mean,
that's in the same email from Nicole about the Form 700.
so that's the elections.
County requires
No.
ethic trainings for all members to any appointed board committees and commissions. I think it's just.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Why would some receive it?
It's in the Form 700 email. It's like paragraph.
Well,
I don't think you have to do it like every year. You do the 700 every year, but you don't do the ethics training every year. That's periodically, but you get it when you come on and then
Probably.
in intervals after that.
Okay, that must be why my interval came up. Sorry.
Yeah.
just lucky.
Just wanted to warn everybody. I guess you're not gonna get it. You're lucky.
All right.
I did just do it for the state.
We're on the message line report. I'm taking with 2 or 3 periods in a row, just because I didn't get this taken care of at our last meeting. So I can report that during this period through today, I've received 6 jail calls, 6 different inmates. They must all be talking to each other. I did receive one message from a tribal member, and this was a little bit awkward in that we have to respect the sovereignty of the tribes, but this person was being evicted, and he says he's a 74-year-old tribal member being evicted. He didn't seem to want to share with me why he was being evicted, and he appeared to have moved on from the time he made the call to the time I answered, with trying to respond to the eviction in a different way, and he didn't share what that was. So that was kind of an unusual situation.
Jim, did you bypass commissioner announcements?
I think you just flipped over to the next page as opposed to turning it.
I'll get back to that then.
Oh, okay.
I'll come right back to that. Okay, that's really all the calls I've had. We have one ongoing situation in the jail where we've been in communication with an individual who is transgender, and she felt that she was being treated unfairly and as a male inmate rather than how she identifies as a female. So excuse me, she is still in litigation for what the arrest was for, but that really has nothing to do with how she's being treated within the jail. And I've had several different communications with the sheriff, the jail captain, as well as Bryce, who is our liaison with the jail, and they are paying close attention to this particular issue. Yes.
The question, is there a formal policy that the jail has with regard to transgender people?
there are state policies which the jail is required to follow.
Okay,
And the jail and the sheriff believe that they are following
okay,
those regulations. Um, there's been a lot of paperwork communication between the inmate and myself picking it up.
mhm,
And I haven't been able to determine whether the accuracy of the claims, but I think there's going to be a lawsuit involved,
oh gosh.
and I don't know what else to tell you about that at this time.
Is there any way to share with us what the claims are?
What's that?
Is there any way to share with us what the claims are? What are they alleging?
The alleged violations are not honoring her declaration when she was jailed that she was going as a female name, not a male name. They continue to use her male name. She's also been searched in the jail by male deputies when female deputies were present. This is a strip search type search. So that's where some of the claims are going to come from. Trying to think if there's any other.
I think wearing the color of the
Yes, you
overall,
were on some of the initial calls from
Yeah.
this person.
that was one of the initial ones. That instead
want
of
to-
wearing female uniform was given a male uniform.
Right, when she went to court, I went to one of her hearings and she was wearing the blue jumpsuit as opposed to the orange. So I guess.
I don't know which one's which offhand. Is it blue?
Well, the orange is for male.
Okay.
And the blue is for female.
Great, so that got addressed.
Oh, and her housing situation was also a factor, but for her safety, she's now being housed in medical isolation unit. Partly because of the type of charges that have been made against her, and partly for how she identifies. So.
Thank you.
You bet. I am open to any suggestions that anybody might have on how to represent this person better. She's rather well versed on law. And I guess that's really all I can say about
Well, it seems that really, I mean, all you can really do is in the sense, be supportive, but it's the jail that is the one that needs to address it. And I mean, and I think that you talk to the jail staff about the issues that she's experiencing. So, I mean, I think that there's also limits in terms of what you can actually do other than, to see that information is clearly transmitted to those who should get it.
Right. She's more concerned right now with getting the proper legal representation. And Connor will appreciate this. Maybe there's obviously she has a public defender, but the public defender is zeroing in on the charges against her, not on her claims of mistreatment within the jail. And so that's.
Sounds like
And-
two separate issues.
They are two separate issues. I recommended the ACLU, and I believe she's going to contact them. Of course, we don't have a local office for them, so that it'll be San Francisco, I assume.
Yeah, but they're very responsive. And
Oh, that's good.
if you have a question, get it to me and I'll check because I know the director.
Good. And I did also contact Queer Humboldt to see if they would help. And they have some background in dealing with these issues,
Yeah.
more so than we might.
Mhm.
At any rate,
Yeah.
that's what's been going on. Now somebody else can have a turn. I'm gonna stay on the phones until March 15th through March 15th. And I have 3 openings for people to volunteer for the phone. March 16th through the 31st, April 1st through the 15th, and April 16th through the 30th. Any volunteers?
Can you repeat those dates? Can you repeat the dates?
Yes, March 16th through the 31st, April 1st through the 15th, and April 16th through the 30th. Did everybody jump at once?
I can do the. I don't have my calendar, so I'm nervous, but I think I can do, I mean, I know I can commit to doing the 1st through the 15th. Can't do March
Of April.
of April.
Okay,
March.
thanks, Jamie.
I can do the 16th through the 31st
Of
of March.
March. Okay, that one's the 31st through the 31st. That leaves the 16th through the 30th of April.
I am absolutely willing to give this my full attention and volunteer, but I
Want some
would,
instruction?
I need some guidance. and
I will be
instruction.
in touch with you.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jim's really good too at like, I consult frequently.
okay,
Jim's super good at like, what do you think about this one? What do I do?
yeah,
Even before I call back usually.
nice.
so we gotta help each other out.
Yeah, super, he's super helpful.
Okay, that is done. Now, going backwards in the agenda, I didn't ask for commissioner communications, and I should have. Eric?
I have a couple of things. I got a poster from HCOE's Office of Education about interpretation versus translation, and then working with interpreters. And I thought there was a lot of good information on it, and I would like to give it to you, and maybe you can scan it and send it out to everyone.
Oh, sure.
So there's a lot of good information on it. And also there's I guess you call it a discussion webinar kind of thing. It's hybrid. It's at the Jefferson Center and by Zoom. The title of it is Ask an Immigration Expert. And it will be mostly in Spanish, but with English interpretation. And again, I thought this might be something that we could send out to everyone. It was March 24th, I think, is it? Later in March, anyway.
March 25th. It's not connected to tomorrow's
No.
event.
No, but it's through HCOE.
We'll pass these around, but I'd like to get them
Yeah, and then
back so I can,
give it to Ellen so it can
yeah,
go out with everybody.
Okay.
But just a couple things that I thought we should know about, and if people can go, it's a good thing to attend and to let people know. If people ask you, particularly if it's a Spanish speaker and they have questions, so this is the time. There's going to be an expert there, and it will be in Spanish for you. So it's a really good thing for us to get out.
one of these I'll take with us tomorrow, which brings me to the point that there's an immigration fair at Jefferson School tomorrow. And Victor has volunteered to.
I can't make it. I thought it was Saturday.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense, given your work situation.
Yeah, I thought I read the first email. The dates got mixed up.
Well, I will be there, and that's okay. It'll be a little bit more challenging since I don't speak Spanish, but
What time is it?
it's from 12 to 7. If anybody wanted to stop by for a little while and keep me company.
Are you tabling?
What's that?
Are you tabling?
Yes. So I have a variety of materials already to share, including information about the sanctuary ordinance, about translations, but this is additional to that. And about the commission in general. So we'll muddle through it. We'll get through it. And any of you would be welcome to stop by and say hello. Yes, sir.
My price for not being at a planning meeting tonight for a Palestinian cultural event is I get to announce it. It'll be on Saturday, March 28th from 2 to 6 at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Will be,
It's open to the public.
yeah, public thing.
Very good. Any other commissioner communications? All right. Thank you, Bert, for keeping me on track. Okay. The next item is committee reports, and the first committee to report would be Jim. Say, what am I missing?
Did you want to do public?
There,
Did you want it?
since there aren't any
We'll just-
people on, we'll just skip over those.
Okay.
That's one thing I didn't have a look. I just skipped it.
Okay.
All right. Hi. Would you like to share your thoughts?
I thought you were gonna share some of that, seeing how you were there with the sheriff. I can talk a little bit about my appointment with the DA.
Okay, well, the guy and I did visit with Sheriff Hansel for about maybe up to a half hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Basically to determine, I'm sorry.
Can we skip the comment? Or is there there's no public?
There weren't any here, so we skipped it. I should have said something rather than just do it. We shared our concerns that although Humboldt County is an unlikely county to have much ICE activity, we wanted to know if the sheriff felt that anything had changed since this ordinance went into effect in 2018. So it's been around a while, but we've had almost no activity from that we have been able to see because the complaints aren't coming to us. We hear about them, but we don't actually have anything to work with. So the sheriff he said he was originally against the ordinance, but I think he has come to be more comfortable with it. I guess that's the best way I could put that. If I'm wrong,
Well, I think he was comfortable with it, except I think we were talking about wanting to carve out some kind of exception to the way the ordinance is written. Because his concern was that having essentially blocking any communication between ICE and the local policing, they don't know what the hell's going on when they show up over here until they get citizen complaints. And that's been a major concern with his department, although obviously the fact that we haven't had ICE here other than rumors, and he did talk about that. There was, I think, at least 2 different events where ICE was reported, and it was actually DEA law enforcement dealing with drug enforcement in our county. But people didn't know because they came in with similar vehicles with similar people coming out, with one exception, no masks, and they were wearing uniforms that ID'd who they were. So, but I do know that was one of his concerns. Still, one of his concerns was the fact that there is this lack of communications. But again, it's not something that's a major issue for our county because we haven't had any ICE activity over here yet. Although, as I said, there's been plenty of rumors about it.
yes, Bert.
Did he say anything about, has there ever been a situation where he had to report someone who was a felon in our situation, in our county?
Yeah.
And how did that go?
I don't recall him saying that any issue of it, but they will act if there
Because
is.
that's when there is some action taken.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did recommend to him that if he would like to suggest some modifications to the ordinance, we would be willing to look at those and see if we would be on board with what he would recommend. He seems amenable to that. I don't know how soon to expect anything, but it occurs to me that the event tomorrow, it bothers me a lot. I was at a Humboldt Equity Consortium meeting yesterday, and I was telling them that this event was taking place tomorrow. It's put on by Catholic Charities of Northern California. And I thought, my gosh, what an intimidating factor just knowing ICE could be anywhere. What an intimidating factor for a group of people seeking immigration information. It's sad that we got to that point, but we are there. So I think that was about the gist of it.
Pretty much. The only thing I would add on to it is I did meet, and that was without you, but I did meet with our district attorney, Stacy Eads. I had a very nice meeting with her for also about a half an hour. And the gist of the meeting, at least that I had with her, was trying, I don't want to say corner her, but I was trying to get some idea of how our local law enforcement, both, the sheriff's department, the police, and our district attorney would act if ICE would be coming in here and they break the law. But they just tiptoe around it. I mean, we saw that with the sheriff. I saw it on display with the district attorney as well. I said, well, we're in territory we don't know. The problem is if they're the federal government, you're dealing with state and local stuff. But I said, but the question though still is that I don't care whether they're federal, state, or local. If they're breaking the law, how are you going to respond to it? And I got no real clear cut response to it. And, one of my comments, and I think I made it to the sheriff too, is it reminded me what happened when we had the takeover, not the most recent one over at the college, but 2 years ago, we had the takeover at the college. I said, I was on the phone with everybody that I knew, legislative, from federal government all the way down to local government, and nobody was around to answer the phone. Everybody I got, oh, not in the office. No, he's not here. It just down the board. I mean, everything from Hoffman's office to the Arcata PD. I want to see the chief. Oh, chief's out of town. But suddenly we had 300 police showing up from all over the county, and counties around us, and it's incredible. But that's I think what scares me more than anything else. I mean, I'm obviously not who ICE is going to go after, but at the same token, what you're talking about is it's kind of that issue that's haunting everybody over here is that they can come over here, masked men can transport people out, and who's to protect them? Our local authorities? I'm not sure they're going to do anything. They're going to sit on their hands.
That's why what they do now, before anything happens, or what they think about now is so important. They can't wait till the event happens. They have to try to anticipate every worst case scenario that they possibly could. And I'm a little concerned that they're not stepping up to that challenge.
And just in addition to it, I'll pass this around. This is the legislation. This is the federal legislation that they're acting under. It's statute 1357, powers of immigration officers and employees. This piece was largely enacted after 9/11. And a lot of civil libertarians, I was one of them, were deeply concerned that we were losing all our rights in this quick run up to fight terrorists around the world. And the next thing you know, we have no rights either. And we're seeing some fruit of that 25 years later, all around the world, I might add, not just here. If you've been following what's been going on with the Congress as far as approving money to DHS and everything, part of it has been these issues of trying to modify some of the changes over here because the legislation, and I won't go through it, but you'll see a few of the highlights over there, but it largely gives these guys a free hand to do what they've been doing. And that's scary. I mean, that's 1930s Gestapo. This is not supposed to be American civil rights and civil liberties. So I'm hoping, I don't know whether it's gonna happen because I don't have much faith in our Congress. Everybody's bashing our president, but they should spend as much time bashing our Congress because they're do nothing. And that's scary right now.
Do you want that shared
Yeah.
with everybody?
Yeah.
I can scan it and share with everybody so they can read it with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I may have posted it on our human rights site anyway, at least, just to, without specifying any specific changes, but to remind people that, contact your legislators. I mean, Representative Huffman has been at least upfront trying to make some of those changes. But we need to get other people besides Mr. Huffman, on board because, as I said, Congress is really not doing its job.
All right. Any questions on the sanctuary issue?
Well, just I think to add, I think the question, what would you do if the law was broken, is a really good question. It would be nice to see some clarification from the locals as to what they would or would not do.
That may mean that a follow-up visit or letter or something, communication may be in order with the sheriff.
Well, you have on here, should we ask the sheriff to be here at our April meeting? That might be a good thing to have him come, and so we could ask him some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the thoughts that we had, I think, at the meeting, I mean, not necessarily whether it was April, but obviously to have an annual meeting where we have some of the local law enforcement show up and share some of the information, not just on sanctuary, but other issues that obviously are.
We could start with that though.
Yeah.
It's right out of my. Better come back to me. Okay, well, we'll move on to the next committee report. Rapid response, there has been no rapid response communications to the media in the last few weeks. So there's no activity there. Youth Human Rights Commission, I think we've got some things to share there.
I can't see the participation list. Is there part of the list? Is there any of the youth on?
No, there's nobody on.
On the participant list? I'm not sure it's all showing. It's okay, I can speak. I just didn't want to
No,
speak over them if they were there.
Particularly the bottom where you could get everybody to come up.
I don't think it's showing
have
everything.
I got an adjustment that I need to make?
I don't know, I'm just sitting there just looking at, you could usually Zoom, you got, there's 4.
Click on that, like.
Click on what?
Down at the bottom where it says human rights.
Thank you here.
If you click on the one that says 4, it should show, or like all the boxes, it should show gallery view, because right now you're just seeing all of them.
There's no,
It's on gallery view.
there's nothing there.
There's no one there. Okay.
There's nobody there.
I wonder if this does it here.
It's okay. There might just not be anyone there, but I just was see. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing 3 participants. Guy, over on the bottom, click on where it says 3 participants, see who they are.
Around the bottom, it's what.
Left, to go to the left.
Keep more. Have the heart.
One more.
Okay.
Click on that. And then we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That's just,
It's over here.
It's just us. Okay, perfect. Well, sorry. Thank you for indulging me. I just wanted to make sure I'm not
It's all right.
to you. Yeah, no, it's okay. I don't know if there was I wasn't here last time, so I don't know if there was a report last time about the meeting with Natalie Arroyo. Did I talk about that here?
I should repeat it anyway.
So at the very first meeting of this semester, which would have been like the end of January, beginning of February, the youth met with, for those of you who don't know, we are in the process of trying to build up and support and mentor a youth commission. This is year 3, I think, of the effort. First year, we didn't really have anyone. second year, or at the very end of first year, we got a couple. So second year, we had a good solid core, but we're all seniors and graduated, moved on. They did do a good job of recruiting a couple strong folks who carried on to this year. Now we're at about 8 commissioners. It's limited and challenged in that all of the students are from Academy of the Redwoods currently. And so we're kind of trying to navigate that and expand out. But they're solid, at least three to four of those are solid attending active members. They are starting to table at events now. And they've made a connection with Multicultural Center at College of the Redwoods, and they'll be tabling outside of there regularly, as well as at some community events coming up. I actually wasn't able to make there, and they met this last Tuesday, and I wasn't able to make it because I had something come up. But I was able to send out a recruitment email. One of the things that we've been challenged with is recruitment, and we get kind of stuck on how do we recruit and increase access and connection or accessibility to it if we're meeting at College of the Redwoods at 3 p.m. People from Hoopa are not going to be able to make it. People from Eureka High are not going to be able to make it to that meeting, right? So it really privileges the students at Academy of the Redwoods. That being said, if we have no other interest, do we lose the students at Academy of the Redwoods by meeting later or in another way? So we're kind of trying to navigate that. So what I did, kind of made an executive decision because I wasn't able to go to the meeting. And so I sent out the application. We already have one applicant, by the way. And I just said, we're recruiting for the academic year 26-27. So these students will be apply by the end of March. They'll be interviewed in April. They'll be appointed at our first meeting or last meeting of the year, which is June 2nd. And then they'll start in the fall. I've made a couple of different changes in that I said, one, if meeting times for next year will be determined based on the commissioners after they're appointed. So once we know who's there and who's going to be on the commission next year, we'll find a time and a place that works for everybody. Because trying to guess who's going to come isn't working and just spinning our wheels. So I'm like, don't worry about that part. Apply if you can do it. I asked for 4 to 8 hours of commitment of time a month because we've had a problem with students saying, like, yeah, I want to do it, but then they have no time. And so I'm like, can you commit to 2 meetings a month and 4 to 8 hours of time for that? And then my strategy for recruitment was I sent it to all the high school principals. I sent it to a couple of people at HCOE. Sharon Blanc was one of them, and then the superintendent. And I sent it to anybody in the community in Humboldt County who is in charge of or leads a youth advocacy group. So there was like 3 or 4 of them. Because I thought, well, what if we can get representative from the TAY group? TAY already has a leadership group. The city council already has an advisory group. What if we can get one of the people who are there to be members and representatives on this youth commission, right? So then, because we already know they're like socially and civically engaged. And then to the youth programs of all the tribes and a couple other community groups, but it was about a list. Oh, and our supervisors, I asked our supervisors, if you know youth in your district, our goal would be to have representation of every district in the county. So please take charge of that and send someone our way. And so haven't gotten any responses, but we did get one application that came in. So I just sent that 2 days ago, right? So
Yeah.
it's just Tuesday. So there's still plenty of time, but that's my strategy to try and broaden the net and increase that. What else? Anything else?
Mine are just a couple of observations.
Yeah.
On the maybe it's just my age group, but I'm having trouble with the communication method that we use. If it just has a phone number in the group text, that means absolutely zero to me. And only one or two of the people that are communicating actually have their name. Yours is one.
That's because it's in your contact. They all know who they are because they're all friends. So they're seeing everyone's names. You're
They're
only,
seeing, how do I get it so I see names?
you need to put them in your contact thing. So sometimes someone will post something and you'll see me, like we do a group chat. And it has to change because not everyone has Apple phones like iPhones. So you can't just add and take people out. You have to rebuild it every time. And so when we do that, sometimes we lose contacts when new people get in. But what I do is I'll send, if somebody posts something like I'm not going to be there, I'm like, I'll say, I'm sorry, I don't have your number. Can you tell me who you are? And then I add them to my contact. And then next time it comes through and I have their name.
Do you have a list?
I think we do. I can help you with
I
that.
get your benefit.
I can help you with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, Yeah, communication's been a little bit of a challenge, you know. I feel pretty techy, but even finding a way to get high schoolers to communicate has been rough. We tried to move to Google Chat, that did not work. The only people in it are Neo, who is the chair, and Gemini. Yeah, but that's all right.
Well, that's good.
We'll work that.
I got a message after that last meeting,
Mhm.
asking if I had contacted the juvenile hall about them coming. And then at the time, I was a little bit tweaked about communication in general. And I told him, no, I hadn't. And that was true. But I got to thinking, it is time, I think, for the members of the group to communicate. And I'll provide them the contact information. But I think if they want to meet and do a tour of juvenile hall or any of the probation related facilities, I think that should come from the members of the group.
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges that we have. They really very much defer to me and Jim to do things. And so that's why when I couldn't be there Tuesday, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take this opportunity. I'm not gonna be there. You all have what you need to be successful. I had sent a coaching kind of text to Mio, like talk about these things. Because he needs to be seen as the person, so they don't just defer to me because I'm in the room. So I actually think it's okay if they meet without us.
Oh, I do.
And we are resources and support to them. That's how it's going to become youth led. Otherwise, it's just the youth doing it. And is that okay? From like checking with us. But yes, I fully agree with that. That yeah, I think we can send them the information and have them take that on.
That sounds good.
I think we should be doing more of that.
What was the deadline again?
March 31st for the application. And oh, I had a question. Is there an easy way to send things to everybody on this group? Because I was gonna try and I was gonna add this group to the email that went out, but I couldn't do that easily. I had to go
I have a group.
add everyone's name.
There's something I could share with you. I don't know if anybody else would need it or not, but when I send out an agenda,
You don't put everyone in individually.
no, I used to, but I don't anymore.
Does it have a different name or did you?
It's in groups.
Yeah.
On my computer, it says groups, and then there's a symbol for people, and
So maybe I can talk to you about
Yeah.
it after, because that would have been easier, because I wanted to send it out to everybody and ask you all to share it, which I will do once I figure out how to do that.
it gets cumbersome when you have to enter
Yeah.
each name. Yeah.
So I just copied Jim, because I was like, okay, I got one person.
All right.
And then,
Yeah.
I imagine, have you also emailed the counselors?
Who counts the high schools? I did not.
Because they might be good,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
the principals might not be,
Yeah, I asked them to send it on to people, but they didn't respond to me. Even though I went to high school with one of them. It was like, I thought maybe I would have an in, but I don't know how to get a hold of all the counselors. But
they should be on the websites.
that's a good idea.
All right, anything else, Jamie?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just gonna stepping back in some ways and stepping up in other ways to take control of getting us ready for next year. I did ask, on the application, the email that went out, I did say that there would be a 2-day training this summer for the youth, which I'm happy to plan and facilitate. Some leadership skills and that piece, just like get everyone built, start building community and connection before we get into meetings, so we don't waste meetings to do that.
All right, that's a good idea.
We'll get there.
Any other questions for Jan?
How can I help you? Make a question.
I think that's a great question, and I can think of lots of ways. So I will contact you. Thanks, Victor.
All right, thank you. The next committee is cultural awareness, Indigenous people. We don't have Carol with us this evening to make a report, so we'll have to skip that.
Hasn't been anything.
Haven't been anything, okay. Technology, Guy, is there anything new?
No, just, usually you guys come up with quick, too many slides. So,
Yeah, we can be a vehicle for advertising events,
because I just did,
including this application. Yeah, yeah.
because I just did the, Latino Film Festival that just ended. I posted it, and sadly, I posted it late. I mean, the first day was already over, so, but it's only the last 2 days. But yeah, anything that you think we should post, because I'm constantly going on there, and also, 'cause I hate Facebook, I'm constantly blocking everything that comes in because they love sending stuff from South Dakota, Minnesota, Louisiana. I go, it has no reference whatsoever to our area, and I don't want to have it filling up our site, but it's impossible for Meta AI.
You can also post things on the NORCAN listserv.
I'm still not 100% sure how we do that.
I thought I sent you the whole page of it. If I didn't, I will try to remember to do that. Because that's one way to have communications, goes out to all nonprofits.
You send it to me,
Okay,
that way
yes.
you could just.
There's just a
everybody-
process, and once you have the process, you just send exactly what you want to be on the page, and it goes, and I think it's on for 30 days.
Well, that'd be great, because that would, whatever.
I'll send it to both of you.
Send it to me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Post it on our site, and whatever other sites we have,
okay,
makes it easy.
I will do that.
Potentially this upcoming like immigration rights meeting that's in Spanish, that might be a good thing.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's tomorrow.
No,
Wait, no, the other.
The
Yeah.
other one is, yeah.
I don't know. I hope that makes its way back to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, send it to me, either PDF or JPEG, whatever you got. You get it up.
All right. The next committee report would be constructive conversations. And this has evolved, but the big evolution came with our meeting of last month. And we got a lot of feedback. And I think one of the key things I learned, I'm not trying to
No,
jump
you
in
go
ahead
right
of you,
ahead.
is that we thought we needed to be the magnet to draw various groups to us to develop more communication and collaboration in the community. The feeling I got was that the other groups thought we should be reaching out to them and becoming more involved. And I think that's probably what Rick may touch on a little bit in his report tonight.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Jim. And that certainly is one part of it. And one thing is that our committee is looking at maybe taking some new directions. And we've kind of been reflecting on that. And I'm going to give you some of the ideas as to what we think we would like to do or directions we'd like to head. But we are proposing also that we are hoping to get commission feedback in terms of your thoughts about what we're planning to do and if there are ways that we might do things better. And I'll talk about kind of the directions we're taking. Just to give you a heads up, I'm also going to be asking you to identify other community or service groups that are important to you. Which are the groups for which you belong, which you believe are doing important work. And I'm also going to be asking you to give a little bit of feedback from what your take was from the meeting and from the presentations that were made last week, both what you gained and maybe some of the things that were lacking that you didn't quite, that you were hoping to see and didn't get. So kind of as Jim said, is that one of the goals of our committee is that we want to build more direct relationships between the commission and other community service organizations here in Humboldt County. And we'd like to, in particular, begin by saying, well, who are the key organizations and their goals with which we might have the most affinity or the most reason to overlap and to work with. The NORCAM has been mentioned as kind of a source of maybe a lot of groups in the organization. We'd like to narrow down to say which ones are going to be most helpful to us. And what we would like to do is to make a closer connection with those groups. So it may be initially that, say, one of the commissioners would be talking with a key leader of one of these other organizations. And then there looked like there was a good opportunity for further cooperation. We would look at maybe 2 or 3 commissioners would meet, say, with the board to explore, well, what are some of the common goals, places where there may be differences, ways that we might be able to work together. So we also, I think, would like to identify what is it about ourselves that we see that we have to offer to other organizations. You know, how do we identify ourselves? What are some of the strengths that we see of the commission, what we can offer? And we've also talked about the idea of what sometimes one might call a listening bureau, where we'd have 2 or 3 commissioners who might visit other local communities in their communities. So some of the ones maybe more far away, Garberville, Bridgeville, the Mattole area, Shelter Cove, Petroleum, and where we might go down and meet with groups of people there and say, well, what are some of the things that you are seeing as kind of important, and what ways might the Human Rights Commission be able to provide support for some of the things that you're doing. So those are some of the main things, and I'd really like to just ask Jim and Bert and Jamie to, say some of the additional things that have come up in your minds as to how we want to characterize a group, some of the goals that we're exploring right now. Anything in particular?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah,
We did at our meeting.
All right.
I think one thing I would add, and I think from the conversation, just, we know that working in rural community relies heavily on being successful at that, relies heavily on relationship. And some of, I think our challenges of hearing from people or partnering is that we aren't building the relationship. We're just kind of like, we're being reactive to things. And so that's, I think, the conversation that Rick was talking about as far as like, where are the places you're already showing up? Can you work to like explicitly build a relationship with your Human Rights Commission hat on in that space? Like, I am very connected to many aging organizations, older adult services, but I bet none of them, even though they know that I'm on a Human Rights Commission, none of them think about it in that way. So I plan to be a little more intentional and just like once a month say, hey, Sam over at the Senior Resource Center, this is Jamie. Hey, I got my Human Rights Commission hat on. Just checking in. What are you seeing going on for older folks in our community? What are some of the human rights issues that are coming up? So that we can then start to build that and then become more natural space to like talk to if something comes up. I think that's,
I think that the point is that we need to reach out personally, a one-on-one or two-on-two, and then go to the places where there are other people, not expect them to come to us.
right. Okay, it was a good conversation.
Yeah, so one thing, we're just sort of dumping this out right now, but we'd really be interested in the initial comments that folks have. And even if you don't come up with all the flaws right now, bring them next meeting. But if you've got kind of some initial thoughts about what we're proposing, we really welcome your thinking on that.
Would you think that, or we could ask the people that are here whether they would be comfortable reaching out to other groups, but do you think we ought to go as far as having a sign-up sheet at the next meeting where people can express their desire to meet with whatever this group is, at least once during the month, and perhaps report back to us on the success or failure of that effort?
I think we could certainly do that. I think part of it, we would just kind of have to see how it worked out and maybe make adjustments after that. But I think the idea of, initiating that would certainly be, I would think, a good idea.
Victor?
Yeah.
So maybe instead of like, I hear what you're saying, Jim, but the opposite, like, so in some other organizations I've been in, we call it like passive mapping. Yeah, so instead of like us setting a goal of who to meet with, just basing on our capacity right now, maybe we like, who do we meet with already? And just like, start there, like, because I don't know if we know like all the groups that we might individually, but as a totality, we might, we might not, we might have gaps, but I think we start with introducing ourselves to the folks that we already know. And then if we feel like we have the capacity, we start saying, okay, let's do this other group, let's do Black Humboldt, or let's do, Central Del Pueblo. Right. But I'd like to, for me, it's like,
Peter?
I don't think we're identifying the right issue. Just have to say it. I don't think Humboldt County's got a shortage of institutions talking to institutions. Right? We don't have a swelling of public opinion and people working together across lines as people, and we have at other times. And the last meeting, and the thing I was asking was what we actually, what are we willing to do together, right? And for the first time, no reaction at all. The second time, well, Career Humboldt and AACP and Central Del Pueblo, right? Well, we have each other's back. In Minneapolis, everyone in the room would have said, and we do too, right? Everyone in the room would have said, we do too. We're not organized and we're not organizing here. Right? So there have been a series of meetings to try to get people organized. Early Sunday mornings, I know Equity Humboldt has done something similar. I went to about 5 of them, and the whole idea is people get together Sunday morning, talk about how different strategies are work together. What you get are nonprofits coming in and doing show and tell, and invariably saying we could use money. Right? I interviewed, I think, 19 or 20 people for the commission around this issue, all activists. And the question I asked was, how could the commission be a place where all the people who aren't working together, right? The issue being they are not working together, right? Not that the commission needs to go see them. That's just more not working together, right? And I had no one, none of the 20, they all said they'd be glad to come and attend the meeting and throw in their ideas, but no one saw the point. Okay? And I think that's the problem we have here. I think, it's a senior resource center. We've got a huge crisis going on around senior health, and it's all being shifted out of the area. People who are vulnerable can't get to see the doctor in Santa Rosa. It's a rather massive thing. So we asked the Senior Resource Center, right, to hold 2 or 3 meetings. They won't do it. They actually will not hold meetings for seniors to talk to each other about the health crisis there, because they're also a healthcare provider and they don't want to get in trouble with other healthcare providers. This was told me directly by the CEO, right? This is not guesswork, right? But that's happening all over the place. And so what I feel like is, let's go talk individually. Like we're talking to deaf individuals. How do we figure out how to break out of the silos and start talking to each other about the common issues? So that everyone's got where Humboldt's back, and everyone's got Centerville Pueblo's back, right? It's on an earlier point, True North and its first executive director, Ali Swan. We had hundreds of people meeting in Oric with the tribes, talking about how people who weren't connected to bringing the dams down could actually, what sort of support did they provide? What did the tribes see? It was incredibly effective work. When you call people, they show up. When you call institutions, they don't, right? And I think we got death by institution happening here. It's which doesn't say we don't need the institutions, right? But they're also a barrier. The silos are these very intense barriers when people won't say, okay, at this point, when, as you said, there's a lot of Gestapo-like stuff happening, right? And we complain about the Germans and how the Germans didn't react, right? In 1933 and 34. Well, 3 million Germans went to jail opposing Hitler. 3 million, right? What are we doing? So I just don't see how, given our limited capacity, right? Because we have very, very little. It's really the individual capacity here. We have nothing beyond that. How spreading out and going to more institutions, right, is going to do anything. It'll make them feel good. And I heard them say that, and going out is always a good thing. You know, always being in people's place is a good thing. But I think there's a bigger question here about how do we get to a point where when ICE, if they come in, that we're ready in our own way, the way Minneapolis was, right? You know, it's that happened through very intense organizing, training, cross-sector training, and multiple institutions all take part of their time to work together. But I just don't think we're worried enough here. You know, it's a great place to live. It's beautiful. A lot of good people here. But anyway.
Well, Peter, let me just respond. I think that, you know, you mentioned Minnesota, that they really were very effective. Thinking of the Human Rights Commission and our size and our reach, what is it that you see that we can do effectively? Can you maybe give us a sentence or so about you?
Sure. So when we asked Hansel and put the word out to public, we had 60 people show up. People who weren't part of the commission were busy asking the sheriff very specific questions, right? We had cross-sector stuff happening here, right? We have all the police departments, right? And the police departments haven't been asked the same thing. And the getting at the issues, I don't think it's a problem getting people to show up, the public to show up, right? I think if we paid attention to, so the issues that make people vulnerable. So for example, the sheriff department, you know, we're the county, sheriff department's the county, but most policing in the county is not the sheriff's department, right? Most of it's going to be interpreted not by the sheriff if someone goes into Arcata or Fortuna or Blue Lake or, you know, wherever it is. A meeting in which we invite all the chiefs of police and we open it to the public. We have hundreds of people there. And that's actually what True North used to do. True North would have had hundreds of people there, right? And with a very disciplined set of questions like we had actually for the sheriff. That was a very effective meeting. I mean, I was proud of this commission. That was a very effective meeting. But extending that to policing in the county. There's some research coming out that would say that the towns that will not participate at all, right, are really shutting down, where the police actually will not talk to ICE. ICE is not going into those towns because they don't have any first step, right? And so maybe a responsible council would, that would be part of a larger discussion. Maybe we ice out ICE, right? But so yeah, I don't think there's any shortage of issues if we think about the public, right, as opposed to the institutions. I don't know.
So you're thinking we should address the institutions rather than dealing with the other agencies here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And then, the agencies, when we had the meeting with the sheriff, Central Pueblo, they showed up Brenda just sort of translate, right? I mean, we ended up working together. We didn't plan it because we actually had common interests. It just happened. I don't mean to sound cranky about all this. I'm just really frustrated.
Well, and besides law enforcement, what other agencies would you see ought to be addressed with good, hard questions?
I wouldn't start there.
You wouldn't start
I
where?
wouldn't start there. I mean, at the end of the meeting with the sheriff, what I would have asked the people there is, where do we go next? There's 60 people here, you're all engaged. We didn't have any bad actors at that meeting. Where do we go next? What's the next use for a forum like this? And I think there's answers.
So I hear you, Peter.
I'm sorry, I just,
No, it's just a little comment to like what I feel the frustration, because I also did like a meta-analysis of 20 years back, healthcare and aging surveys that have done. Top 3 needs have come up for 20 years, still the top 3 needs today. So we're not doing anything. My question is, and why I go back to like, I don't think that we have the capacity to change our legal system. I don't think we have the capacity to go in and pretend we're all experts in any area that is an issue in this county. What we do have is relationships, and what we do have is experience, and building on those relationships. That's what gets people to show up for something that isn't on their agenda, right? Like, so if I can build relationships with someone and say like, look, hey, we're going to show up for you when older adults aren't getting healthcare. Will you show up for us when there's immigration, people who are not feeling safe in the community? I think that that's where I see change happen. Or at least people come together. There's so many issues, right? Well, there's not a shortage of issues at all. And there's not a shortage of organizations fighting those issues or addressing. So that's the problem. They're all siloed. But I don't think we can like say we're going to change the system if we don't have the relationships to do that.
But that's where Peter got in, the phrase common interests. Was the one thing when we had the meeting that kind of blew me away. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't, was when they were talking about about 600 different organizations. And I thought, that's the problem. Everybody's got, like I said, this silo.
Yeah, they all have their agenda.
Yeah, and nobody wants to deal with the common interest, and the common interest is all of us. Because that's how, I've been hopefully not coming off bashing institutions. I just know they're not doing their job. But, it's one of the reasons why we met with the sheriff, why I met with the DA, why I met with similar state legislators, is I want to give them the courage to do the right thing. But the only way we're going to do it is what Peter's talking about and you're talking about, is more of us getting together. And maybe that's what the Human Rights Commission can do, is to pull all these groups together and say, yeah, you've got your important issue that you're concerned with, but your issue relates to this person's issue and that person's issue. We need to come together on it. Because, single responses, the institutions, you're bringing up and jumping ahead on my thing. I've been pushing on doing something with our hospital. And one of the things I brought up with Senator McGuire back, this is 2 years ago now, right, is our hospital, Mad River, has been up for sale and it disappeared with real worries about it. And I said, you know, you guys have just pumped in almost $1 billion into the university over there, making it a Cal Poly. Why don't you pump in a little bit more and have them buy the hospital so we could have a medical hospital over here tied in with UC Davis, and we could produce nurses and doctors and have something really good here in the community. He says, who's on board with it? And that's exactly the thing, you know, we're all silent. Nobody wants to get on board. I contacted the foundation at Humboldt, and I talked to Steve Clark, I think is his first name. And I asked him about it, and he says, well, you know, they don't want to touch it. And I said, we need to give them the courage to touch it, because the state won't move unless they have people buy in over here and say, yeah, there's interest in it. And I know there is, because every time I bring it up, everybody says, hey, that's a good idea. We should have that over here. But they don't want to touch it because they don't just hear it here and there, but we don't have anybody who has the courage. I get disgusted with our president of our university. I don't know how our new guy is going to go, but I have a feeling it's not going to be any different from our past two that we've had over there, because they're not like the college heads that we had when I was going to college in the early 70s that actually had the courage to fight for things that they knew was right. The only college I've been hearing doing that right now, believe it or not, I'm going to bite my tongue, is Harvard. They're the only ones who've actually told the government, bug off. You know, I shouldn't say the government, the Trump administration, bug off. Everybody else is, you know, they caved in, and I understand Humboldt is caving in, well, not Humboldt, CSU is caving in on some of these issues. So we need to give these guys.
We sue the government.
Huh?
We sued the federal government. We sued the Department of Education.
Yeah, but I know, but if you read today's
I know.
report, I know, but like I said, I know it's not simple.
It's not said.
But I think we need to give these guys the courage to act. The only way they're going to do it is, like I said, if we can get together and,
So I see pictures.
Yeah, like, well, we'll go back to what Shay said when she was speaking to us last time. The reason none of these things are happening is because there's no trust, right? Like, ultimately, like, you're not going to shame someone into action. That doesn't work, right? Like, people are willing to, like, put themselves in an uncomfortable position if they trust the person that they're doing it for, or if there's that trust built, right? Or if it affects them directly, obviously. But, you know, I think like what Shay mentioned is like, and like, we have to like look at ourselves a little bit, right? We're part of the county, like we're a county commission. I don't think people think we can do anything. I mean, I'm just like demonstrably, right? Like, and even if we wanted to, I don't honestly think that the county would support us if we ended up like biting the hand that fed us, right? Like, if we go against county priorities, well, you know, like they're not going to give us money, right? They barely give us money now. So, like, I do think that we have, you know, one thing that I look at is like title open doors, right? So, like, being on the county on a commission, we can ask, you know, Sheriff Hansel will grace us with his presence every so often, right? You know, we can have people, we can do asks that other people can't because of our positions. But then we're not going to make anyone show up. Like, people have to show up if they want to, but I think we can help build trust that these forums are like worth it. You know, if we want people to show up, I think building that trust, building those relationships. Like, I understand why, you know, the Senior Resource Center doesn't want to have those trainings, but maybe one day you'll be like, fine, I'll do it. You know, if you work on them.
Well, and there's other organizations that can do it that don't have that, right? And so you can have that conversation instead of just getting them help.
Yeah, because like, you know, I work for a city, and you know, when I have my city hat on, it's like, yeah, sorry, my job, I can't put the city into liability. But you know, let's talk about it later, and maybe this person can talk to this person, and then they can get something done. And so, but it's relationship building. And, you know, we are a small community. I think the reason there are 600 different orgs is because in my personal experience, people just don't trust each other anymore. You know, it's one org and then they split because something happened and now they think that they can do it better than the person they were working with before. And so I think, you know, for me, the point of what Shay brought up, you know, is like us going out into the community is building that trust is, I think she said very specifically, it's like if we show up to things that matter to them, even with like, when it doesn't directly like benefit us, you know, that act of goodwill, you know, hopefully would give them reason to show up for us when it doesn't matter for them.
Yeah, I'd also kind of just like to reinforce, I think that building trust between us and other organizations really underlies a lot of what we're hoping to do. And to me, this conversation is marvelous. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas, but people are really talking to me, I think, about really central things. And this is giving us some good foundation as a committee to think, okay, how can we integrate these things? What are good choices to make? So anyway, I very much appreciate all of your ideas.
And
Yeah,
actually, to what you're saying, Guy, you know, I don't see why we can't, like, you know, health is a human right has been thrown around a lot. So why don't we, like, as a commission, just keep nagging people about medical, because Cal Poly needs a true mission right now. They're struggling, not just institutionally, but students, you know, aren't coming to, that's just the reality, right? But and you know, so I think there are places where we can get more creative, but I think it does boil down ultimately to trust. And I think unfortunately right now we don't have that in spades with the county as an organization, or you know, with the people in our county as an organization. And that's where I think we need to work on if we're going to do big things.
And that's not going to be an overnight
No.
situation. It's going to take time.
right. But I mean, I think I agree that that's an important issue, you know.
Yeah.
I'd also, I mean, if there's anything, I don't want to cut you off, but I also don't want to just, you know, go beyond what were really the key ideas here. One thing I would like to do is for each of us that are here to say what community organizations do we participate in that we think are important? And to me, I mean, if we were to have a record of that, not just, you know, for this meeting, but more generally, that may be helpful as we continue the plan into the future. So I will just start off is that I'm a human rights commissioner. I do things kind of distance. I'm on a trail stewards. I'm an Area 1 agency for aging driver. I'm on the McKinleyville Family Resources Food Pantry. I was on their Citizens Advisory Group when that was here. I'm on the Mattole River Camp and Retreat Board of Directors. I recently retired from the Youth Leadership Fund Board of Directors. So those are areas that I have, I can't say expertise in, but I have an interest in, and there are things that I enjoy doing.
And you would have developed relationships.
And I have enjoyed doing, yes, and have developed relationships. So I would just suggest maybe we go around, maybe just quickly and.
Okay, I'm not quite as impressive as you.
Yeah, well, for those of you who are really busy, keep it to your top customers.
Oh,
Those of you who are retired, work harder.
well, I'm on the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission. That's a big deal to me. I am also not an active member, but considering becoming a paying member of the Dows Prairie Grange on Dows Prairie, where I live. And that stems from my time in 4-H and FFA. So I have a lot of fondness for the agricultural community and think it's really important. Part of my work is an R&D greenhouse that lets us grow lettuce and basil. And when we have extra, we've been donating it to a couple of the different organizations. So I have taken lettuce to Food for People and Potato House, and I've been talking with Betty Chin who is a lovely lady. And so I think food and food security and agriculture and how that ties into it, especially how it brings the environment and stewardship of that, it all ties together on the plate. And yeah, so those are my main things. Also, I'm friends with a lot of the theater kids, and so I know people at NCRT and Redwood Curtain, and I know they recently combined. And yeah, so that's me.
Thank you.
I mean, unless I don't know. About all I have the capacity for is going to work and going home, taking care of my kids, and coming here once a month. I'm sorry. I work at Department of Rehabilitation locally, so there's a lot of organizations that we work with within that. One of the ones that I work more closely with is called Project Rebound at Cal Poly Humboldt. So, I would talk with them quite a bit. So that's, and then just working within the community, people with disabilities locally, but that's more related to my employment. So
That's still, that's 40 hours plus a day.
Yeah.
Or week.
yeah.
Feels like some days are.
It seems like it, but
Some things are, so
Which is what district do you get to struggle with?
well, we serve both Humboldt and Delmar County.
I mean, for your children.
Well, my children are, I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding.
Oh, I just wondered,
I'm sorry.
your school district. Yeah, what school district?
Oh, Eureka High School.
Okay, yeah, so I've been dealing with the McKinleyville consolidation issue, and
Yeah.
there's.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, my kids are bigger now, so they're not, like, they're not in grade school anymore. So the involvement with the school is a little,
Way less opportunity for.
and let the kids take that on mostly because they're grown. And then my little street, we help out each other just casually. John Hill Street group, and so that's about it.
okay.
It's a lot longer of a list than you thought you were gonna give.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. No, my list is actually shorter than you might think. But I would like to change that. At one point, I was a treasurer of the NAACP, and I haven't been part of that group for a while, but I'd like to change that. And I'm going to. My other activities that keep me busy are this organization, for one, and the various committees that make up this group. Also, the California Grand Jurors Association. I'm a secretary treasurer of the local chapter, and I am a board member of the state organization. Their focus is a little different than ours on the surface, but all of the chapters deal with local issues that are important to them, and there is always overlap, and you learn from those various groups what is wrong in their particular area, and you'd be surprised how many different solutions there are that we just can't anticipate.
Well, I work with the League of Women Voters and I'm an election volunteer. So are you, Jim. You work on the elections. I work with the Girl Scouts, which is a very large council with its main office down in the Bay Area, but it spreads all the way up to Del Norte County and down to Santa Clara County. I work with the Children's Author Festival, which comes around every other year. I'm a member of the NAACP, and also I've worked with LatinoNet I am also a member of the steering committee of NORCAN, and I have been a consultant. I just retired from that at the end of 2025, but I still know a great many people in a lot of different nonprofits because I've worked with their boards over the years. And that's probably it.
That's probably about half of the birds.
Well, I am on the commission.
So. Other than being really cranky about things I think should be happening, that's hard. I don't serve on any boards anymore. I do project work. Really involved with medical crisis stuff, trying to get groups organized. And we have a big meeting of the biggest employers finally happening in a couple of weeks. As they've called it, an existential crisis. Jim wrote this wonderful letter about the equity issues and the social justice issues that affect medical inequity, who gets hurt by it. That letter keeps floating around. That was a very productive thing to do. I'm interviewing folks on the Klamath, trying to capture some of the stories about things that went on that don't get the headlines. Just amazing stories that people need to be here. I was working on it with Brian Tripp, but then Brian died, so working on that with some others. Just stuff like that, staying busy.
I work with Steve Arcata, and it's good because a lot of my coworkers are in my department are really involved in other stuff. And one of my coworkers, he's really gotten into trying to professionalize the Food Not Bombs people, just trying to help them get together a bit more so they can serve more people and serve more meals. But he's got a property in Eland, and he's really gone all in into not quite permaculture, but kind of like food sovereignty and that sort of like local food and like aspects of things that grow here well, things that grow here in quantities, things that can feed people. And he's done a lot of, and he's like really active, and he's like connected with a lot of groups. And so he's always a good source of information when it comes to food issues around here. And then in my other hats, I'm really involved with Democrats on the state and local level. And then I'm involved with, it's called Humboldt Solidarity Coalition. So it's like a clearinghouse where it's at the Labor Temple once a month where groups can show up and they get 3 minutes. They talk about one thing that they've done, one thing that they're doing, and how people can help them. And so it's like very networking mixer sort of, but it's really good. And so what else? And I think that's for the most part it. There's other stuff, but that's the stuff that I do regularly.
And what is the networking group telling?
Humboldt Solidarity Coalition. So they meet the fourth Tuesday of the month, from I think it's 6 to 8 at the Labor Temple on East Street.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good group.
Would they welcome
Yeah.
drop-in
Anyone
visitors?
Oh no, anyone showing up, as long as you're like against
Those are one of the things I can
talking about stuff.
Gets faster.
That's how I'll put it. I can use a different word, but
Yes, quite sure. So I'm still associate faculty over at Humboldt State, doing a variety of things. Also working with the teachers union there. I'm not sure what at the moment because I'm between jobs that they have over there. As far as county, other than this commission, I've been on I'm still on the tax commission over the committee over the city of Arcata. I think this is gonna be my last year on it. I've been on it for 3 years. It was a 3-year appointment or 4-year, I don't remember now, but I'm doing that. Uh, you see me with my hat. I'm an OES volunteer, and of course, I always have freak out a few people, especially when I tell them that I work in the animal division, and I think they mean I'm being nasty. I says, no, the four-legged animal ones, so deal with cattle, horses, pigs, cats, dogs, anything that has 4 legs. We're out there when the last time we actually got called out, it's been a while, but we had a big fire that was in Willow Creek, and we got called out in the middle of the night to try to take care of the animals. I've been at the Farm Bureau giving talks about what we can do and how we can help out in case of an incident, because the Farm Bureau is fairly well organized, and we want to make sure that the county can react to it and help wherever it's necessary. And beyond that, I mentioned tonight I'm the legislative leader for the ACLU here in Northern California for Humboldt area, and I've been trying for quite a while to have them resurrect the chapter over here, because I used to be a member of the chapter and then it disappeared. But they haven't been overly helpful with me with it. I've asked them to, give me the names, or if they don't feel comfortable giving the names, if they would send out a notice that we can organize so that we get people there. Because I know there's a lot of members of the ACLU out here. I've been a member since I started school back in 1970. So I've been a member for over 50 years. So got a lot of experience dealing with civil rights issues, and that's what I've been active with some time.
Thank you.
So I don't think I've met everybody, but hi, I'm Janie. I am a longtime resident of Humboldt County. I've lived here since '87. I just have to say, because the thing I'm most excited about is I'm a grandma to Ezra, who is 1. That's why I wasn't here last time. I am a professor of social work at Cal Poly Humboldt, and also developing a gerontology program. And will be the head of that program once it launches in fall 2028. Obviously I sit on this commission. I think one of the things my role at the university, one of the beautiful things about working on a university campus is that you have access to a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors that can open. Our program has an emphasis on working in rural and indigenous communities, so I've had the opportunity and deep privilege of building relationships with many of our tribal partners. I used to work very closely with Two Feathers for years, and have some good, strong connections there, which is really helpful in building trust and building dialogue and building conversation. And I learned so much from those conversations. I also coordinate, or in that role, developed our online social work program, which was, for me, a social justice movement and bringing access to education to a tribal community. But through that position, which I'm now returning to when I come back from sabbatical, I have the opportunity to travel to kind of the more rural and remote areas of Northern California and talk to folks who are county and tribal workers, go to high schools and talk to kids about career pathways and that piece, and get to hear a lot of stories and that. I have been a social worker for lots and lots of years in Humboldt County, and my social work practice is in aging and adult services, working with now serve on the hospice Humboldt board. I'm going to follow you though. I'm kind of done with boards, but hospice is a good board.
A lot of good work needs to happen, a lot of boards.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm headed that direction. So hospice is my last board. I was with the Community Health Alliance for many years. I have a lot of connections and relationships in the healthcare industry here because of working with older adults and family caregivers. I serve on the California Commission on Aging. well, this is only my second year. I was appointed by the governor to that position. I'm one of two rural people on that commission, so for me, that feels. I'm finally finding that I do have a voice in bringing rural issues, which I think is a good venue for this healthcare conversation. Not better, but a good venue. In that we actually recommend legislation and get authors and sponsors and do all of that piece. And have been able to have some good successes. So, and bringing the real voice to the table is really important. Since everything is decided in Sacramento. And people think that 30 minutes from Sacramento is rural. That comes to me. So I think those are kind of the big things that I do now. So aging, healthcare, education, kind of my and grandma. Thank you.
Wow, yeah, I have Connor. I'm newer to Humboldt, but since I've been here, I've been a member of the North Coast Growers Association for like 5 years now. So I have a lot of connections there, and I know a lot of farmers in the community and connections that I'm currently also at the Public Defender's Office. I started going to school for social work, but I'm actually not at Cal Poly. I'm doing it online. Through Rutgers. Yeah.
I'm a supporter.
So yeah, I have a lot of connections there. And then also sort of like through that work with the jails and the courts and getting to know people in that kind of world. I've also been doing a lot of work with Akili Metzley, which is like a new Masa cooperative of like mostly young Latina farmers who are trying to build a tortilla factory in Humboldt County, but it's also a very like cultural organization and getting people to collectively work the land and to produce like culturally relevant foods, and it's a food sovereignty group. And that's going really well, and it's growing a lot actually. So that's a great organization. I'm also part of the Van Dusen Grange as well. And we've been working, I have a daughter at Cuddyback Elementary School near where I live, and we've been working with Cuddyback Elementary School to create a community garden to try to grow food for both. Like the Grange has free community dinners once a month, but also trying to get like locally grown food into the schools as well, or Cuddyback specifically. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I do outside of this. Yeah.
Thank you. For a relatively small group of people, we reach out to a lot of different interest groups and organizations. And I'm really impressed. I think at this point, I just need to stop my committee. And I may not get invited back again, I'm afraid, with having taken this much time. But really, I think that our committee really has a good foundation of information to kind of work a little bit further on. And also welcome just next month or whenever, or by email, but certainly more feedback. We really welcome in terms of just saying, how can we get good direction to do things where we feel that we're making a contribution and developing relationships in the community that we can, in a sense, continue to work effectively together. Thank you, Jim. So I'm going to turn it
If I could just say, I really liked everything you did, but my sheep are going to be very mad at you because they're going to want their grain, and I'm going to be very late.
I've had worse things said about me.
It's gonna feel better. That clock's ahead 7 minutes.
Nice.
It's a county clock, don't count on it. We don't usually spend that much time on a committee report, but I think you can see how I can see a lot of value in what we just learned about each other. I can see some themes developing that perhaps we can be helpful with. food, healthcare, a few other things. So,
Well, and I love the commission feedback there.
Oh, yeah.
What we're doing, and I certainly welcome continued feedback, as we report and kind of look at future directions.
right. All right, well, thank you, Rick. I'm gonna throw you a curve.
Oh, good.
Your committee changed a little bit since we
Right.
last met.
I saw that.
Yeah. And you, I hope you still want to lead it. There was some overlap between the conversations committee and the outreach, and I think this still feels like an outreach committee to me, but intern mentoring project. And basically, and I forget who had suggested it to me. It was for an intern.
I suggested that we look at it, but my feeling right now, after everything we've talked about, is that maybe that's kind of more than we should try to take on right at this moment, other than to have the list of things that they might do. But if we have an intern, someone has to be working with that intern. And I see us as really overloading ourselves right now. So my feeling about that is that maybe that would be something we'd like to put aside for a while. It just I think it sounds great, but someone really needs to put time and effort into it, and we're asking a lot of everybody on this committee right now.
I think, can I just add to that? I think it's also bad timing. We're already in March, it's gonna be spring break, like, before we blink, and people are gonna graduate, yeah, May and June. But it could be a conversation we start about, like, reading for fall.
Yes, to do that.
I was thinking we could just kind of fold it into the youth board and maybe let someone from there, if everybody showed interest in being involved.
You can help me do that. But
Then we don't have to duplicate effort. I mean,
It's a conversation you can have, but that can be challenging, at least right now.
Yeah.
but we're getting ready for the 26, 27 crop.
yeah, I'm gonna start strong with them. Start strong with them.
Well, Peter, do you want to postpone this activity for a little while?
Well, since I'm just hearing about it this evening, why don't I catch up with you guys?
All right, we should have
Right.
a meeting and see where we go.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds fair. And last but not least,
Well, it'll just tag along with what Rick started about a half hour ago.
Is that all?
Wait, I'm not complaining. I think we're acting on it. We're trying to, we're gonna meet with Arcata House next week to find out what's going on and maybe how we can help. Because again, everybody, I've been talking about the different silos and everything, but then you have silos within silos, because like with the housing and homeless situation, we have a whole bunch of different organizations all trying to help out, and many of them doing good work, but again, it's spread pretty thin. And then if you've been reading the news, Arcata House, I guess, lost out on some money, and so I was reading it, so I contacted Arcata House and asked them if they had a grant writer, which I guess they do, but I don't know whether it's full time, because I know even our county doesn't seemingly have full time grant writers. They just get people occasionally to do stuff for them. So I asked if maybe we could come over there and find out what they need, because maybe we could help directly, or we can do what we've been talking about the last half hour or more. How we can maybe say, well, I can't do anything for you, but I know somebody who can, because maybe we can. It's almost like an ombudsman. Sit there and say, we could help.
The mental health triage center, or what's happening with that?
it's, as far as I know, it's still continuing. I mean, I mentioned to you that I talked to Steve Karp over at that, and he mentioned that that's still being pursued. But the problem, as we know up here, I mean, I think it's everywhere, but it's definitely up here, is everything goes at a snail's pace. So when it was approved, they had money for it, and things have dragged, and then costs went up because everything has gone up, even though inflation is under control. Unfortunately, it's not really under control, and they shifted. They were now going to, what is it, Stewart School, I guess is where they're gonna.
Mad River.
Mad River now, okay, so it keeps shifting where they're gonna be doing some of the stuff, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, they're signing contracts with Mad River Hospital to build a new facility on their site.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's what I think what Byers' office is talking about. So. But of course, I know he hasn't been hugely responsive at the moment because he was invited to come to a meeting here, and they promised to get back to me, and that's been a while. But of course, he's now campaigning for the congressional district, so that's been taking up most of his time. But I'm hoping we can still get him to come over here and speak to us, because he would be a delight. I think so many of you that don't like his cussing. He's a notorious.
I've never heard my concept.
Yeah, if any of you guys remember the late Mr. Burke,
Yeah.
he must have been the one who either trained him or he learned from, because I learned a few cuss words. I think
So Bert,
I got an email from Chris Woods, is it, our new, is that the name? Asking for recommendations for the nonprofit of the year, and I was already thinking that I would like to nominate Arcata House, because they have really taken a hit, and they've done a great deal in terms of working with other groups that have also been hit, and they are continuing to get their programs out there, and under terrible conditions, because they just don't have the money for anything. And I think I think they're doing a great job, and I also think it would be a really boost to them to get something like this. So I'm planning to recommend them, and I would, if everybody here would recommend them, I think maybe you could send us anything that you think of that we ought to say in the.
Oh, like I said, we're meeting with them Tuesday at noon. We're gonna have a meeting.
And everybody, I think we have until at the end of March, is it, or March 24th or something, to send in our recommendation. But the more recommendations they get for a group like that, I think would mean a great deal. So
yeah,
I'm going to do it. I hope everybody else will.
Victor.
I was gonna say, while we're on the topic, because this does hit home for us. So I was talking to Nezzy from AHA, and she was sharing with me some of her concerns, because I've been like, so the article came out recently that we've done so well with our care court pilot that we're getting designated some money or something from the state government. For care courts are this new program that Gavin has rolled out, that then there's like concerns and controversy around it, but basically it allows the courts to place people on treatment pathways who are deemed incapable of handling their affairs and in need of treatment. And that's where the controversy comes in. Because there's some advocates who, like, and this is where I was talking to Nezzy and from AHA, they have concerns about like humans rights being violated in the pursuit of health. So that's a conversation I'm trying to have with her privately, but also I'm thinking it's a good conversation for us to have, because like there is a balance. And it's like helping people, right? And sometimes you don't like a no it's hard to ignore when they're having behavioral issues or breaks with reality. But that's where it's an interesting conversation that's dividing that community right now. And so it might be something worth having people talk about here. But yeah, just bringing that up.
Can I throw something else at
Go
you?
ahead.
I don't know if you want to respond or what. Okay. I don't know if you all have are on the radar of the Behavioral or Mental Health Services Act changes and how that's kind of evolved over time, but with the recent changes to the Mental Health Services Act, which I cannot, I'm blanking. I didn't bring any of my technology, so I'm a little bit lost, just so you know. Usually I rely on that for my memory, but with all of those changes, counties have been directed to create a new integrated behavioral health plan for the county, which is due March 31st. Then there's a 30-day open public comment time. I think that's something that we should be watching. What is our county saying that they're going to do with all of the public behavioral health dollars that come to this county, if they have to be included in that plan? The final plan is due June 30th, but I think we should be on the lookout for the March 31st release. I'm happy to watch for it and make sure everyone gets it because it's already on my radar.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that it could impact our community a lot. There's a lot of housing dollars that have been set aside.
Yeah, it's, but it goes back to what we were talking about before, we're not an audit. That's right, to see the money spent adequately, and we actually get it, because that's part of the problem. They keep making these mandates, and then they don't provide it.
Right. Well, we can make, I mean, I think there is a space for us to make public if there's disparities or concerns or even tell people, hey, this is how, make sure you look at it and give any feedback and then use your voice.
Yeah, keep us posted on that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. Anything else? Guy?
No, pretty good.
Okay, well, at this point in the agenda, we, under unfinished business, I don't think need to repeat what we just talked about, so that's a duplication of effort. I would like to propose that everybody be thinking about what agenda items you would like on the next agenda. I don't know if you have any ideas at the moment, but if you do, we'll take them down. If not, give some thought to it between now and the next 2 or 3 weeks anyway, and we can add them in. We've had a very energetic and good conversation tonight. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to digest everything I've heard, and there's a lot to digest. A lot of good things. Any other business that we should consider before we close?
Just to kind of tack on to this idea of an intern, last week or before I discussed, I might have a maybe possible funding source for that.
You know of one?
I do. And we can tack that on when we are considering an intern.
Well, this committee of 3 will be meeting in the near future. So maybe if you can get the information to any one of us, we can move forward with it from there.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Well, unless there's any other new business, we'll call this meeting adjourned, and thank you very much.